This is the Pacific Ocean side of Magdalena Island, about 135 miles northwest of La Paz in the southern part of Baja, California. This is a perfect place to explore one of Mexico's most productive fishing areas and also to learn a little bit about sustainable fishing. It's also a pretty great place to do some cooking, too. I started my exploration of this famed Magdalena Bay in a boat with Jorge and Luis from Red Tours. This is beautiful around here. This is the Magdalena Island, right? One side's Magdalena Bay, huge bay, huge bay. It almost looks like a sea in there. And now we're out onto the Pacific side of it here, where a lot of the lobsters are caught.
So this is a very special area because it's maybe one of the most productive areas, the full Magdalena Bay, in fisheries in Mexico. And that's because of its mangroves. Historically, this area has been has never been protected, Magdalena Bay.
It's never been protected?
No.
But now it's starting to be protected?
It's a full process, and it's starting to happen, both because of the government is pressuring a little bit,
yes,
and because the people, the fishermen, are realizing that without protection, they're just going to finish everything.
Yes. But at the same time, they want to sell it, make their livelihood and all that.
But they know that it's
for the future.
They need to think in the future now.
Yes.
And that's something new.
So they're bringing in biologists now into Magdalena to help people to determine what should the size be and how much should you fish.
And make also, that's maybe the easy part. The most complex part is the social part. How can you tell someone that has been fishing in a certain way for many, many years and that needs to eat that same day, because that's what they do for a living,
right?
Not to fish it, yes, and just to wait. Yes. So more complex one. So it's little by all of this work is making progress.
Lobster fishing is a huge part of the local economy here. Now, I've seen lobstering in Maine, and I was curious if the process differed much here. Plus, we were looking to cook some lobsters for dinner, so we thought we'd go right to the source. Not an experience you get every day. Jorge was just telling me about how common it is to find an octopus in the lobster traps. An octopus often uses the trap as a shelter, and then will actually eat the lobster that's caught inside. And sure enough, just as our fishermen pulled up the next trap, it not only had a beautiful spiny lobster inside, but an extremely slippery octopus.
No, you got it.
I took a look at the lobster myself, and I thought it was probably of legal size. But when the fishermen made the measurement, as the new regulations require them to do, they discovered that it was just too small, so back in the water. Since we weren't having luck finding some fresh lobsters, Luis decided that we should go to the co-op, where each day's catch from all over the area is brought to be sold. They had big, beautiful, spiny lobsters, just what I was looking for to cook for dinner at camp. All over this huge bay, there are divers bringing up different kinds of clams and scallops. It's really tough work. I mean, these guys have to dive in the water all alone for hours to collect their catch. And then when they're done with their work, they have to hang out on a nearby buoy for a boat to pick them up. Divers for clams often stay below the surface for 3 or 4 hours at a time, attached to an air hose from a compressor that's on the boat above. We were lucky to come across one of these guys that was just getting out of the water.
At 8 a.m. in the morning, now it's cold. So
he's been down there for 4.5 hours. Now, though he was mostly diving for clams, he came up with an unusual kind of scallop.
It's called callo de hacha. How do you say hacha in English?
A hatchet?
Hatchet
scallop?
Muy bueno.
Yeah, muy bueno.
Because it's in the like that, and it's just a little part that comes out of the sand. Some walking on the beach and you get it.
Hatchet on your foot. Wow.
And it's delicious.
I love these. Are really delicious.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful too. Each type of seafood has its prescribed season here in Magdalena Bay. And today, the divers' real prize was a very nice haul of what are called almejas chocolatas, or chocolate clams. I thought those would be perfect for dinner, so we bought them right then and there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it anywhere else but here in Baja.
I have never seen it anywhere but Baja.
It's delicious. I'm very proud of it.
Do you think the clams are getting with the lobsters in there?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think we better get going here.
Yeah.
It was really rewarding for me to see that sustainability was becoming top of mind in Magdalena Bay. I mean, overfishing, polluting the waters, or destroying the environment would be such an incredible waste. This place has some of the best seafood in the world, and since we'd collected some of that beautiful bass, it was time to get cooking. We arrived at their serene camp, and I got to meet Hubert, the camp's cook, who had graciously invited me into his kitchen. Hubert planned on making a few local specialties, some stuffed chocolate clams, something they call a pastel de pescado, a kind of layered cake, but first and foremost, stuffed lobster.
So it's time to prepare these spiny lobsters.
Hubert started the lobster preparation by splitting our spiny friends in half and then dropping them into a pot of boiling water.
Okay.
Then we diced up some tomatoes, onions, and poblanos to season the dish.
Looks like the lobsters are about ready, about 10 minutes. He said it was gonna... ¿Están listos, verdad?
Sí, están
Okay. Entonces yo agarro la tabla.
Boy, don't those lobsters look absolutely stunning coming out of the water. Heated some olive oil in a pan. Then we scooped in all those beautiful raw vegetables and stirred them from time to time until they were softened. Then we removed the lobster meat from the shells and gave it a rough chop.
This incredibly sweet, delicious meat is cooled off a little bit, chopped up into large pieces, and we're ready to put it into the cooked vegetables. Ya listos, ¿verdad?
Once that was all combined, Hubert added some butter to melt over everything that was in the pan.
Huberto's got some, well, it looks like Oaxacan string cheese to my way of doing things, and we're going to chop that up and put it right in with the vegetables and that lobster.
We fill the shells back up with that mixture of lobster meat and cooked vegetables and melted cheese.
We're going to pull a little of that cheese into thin strings and lay it over the top of these beauties. Lay them on the grill until they're hot through and the cheese is melted and they've got that beautiful smoky flavor.